quick save here. So I was going to give like a little Stormer, and I've given a Stormer tutorial before, but it wasn't like in a dedicated video of helping people. It was just during like a Twitch playthrough. But yeah, I explained in detail how it works before. Oh yeah, this PlayStation's been on too long. It's piping hot. No wonder it crashed. Alright. Let's put this on tourist again. Let me turn the tutorials off. Oh, it already says they are off. When they come up again, I'll just disable them.
Man, did I just clean my gun?
Okay, so... do I have the foam finger? I do. This functions differently than it used to. It used to be rally plus 10% hit chance and crit chance for one turn. Now it's just, it gives you use 3 action points, but you can use it multiple times, and you can only use it on one character. So I'm going to put that on Zeus. I just grabbed Zeus for this video. I haven't been using him. Okay, again, Bleeding Strike. I'm trying to target the enemy in the top right corner. I have the minimap turned off so it's easier to see hit chance percentages and the map. And I don't need the minimap anyway because I know where most of the things are. So again, I'm trying to switch to that character over here. You can, you know, back and forth if you want, so you get to the guy you want. But if you don't want to do that, again, select him like this, and then select Bleeding Strike. You press square to come to this menu, then you select Bleeding Strike. Or I could just run up to them, and then when I'm right next to them, do Bleeding Strike. You can hit them when you're diagonally away from them too. Not all the time. Most of the time. But sometimes stairs and certain maps, some kind of hidden obstruction or something, you can't, you know, you won't be able to. Usually has something to do with environmental things. Heavy attack, it says no target. So if I select him like this, and then pick heavy attack, then I can do it. And it worked, actually. He got a crit, even though his critical hit chance is not high at all. What's his critical hit chance? I forget where everything is. His critical hit chance is 22. So if he uses the heavy attack, it's boosted by another 70%. Now that I'm right next to the enemy, it's easier. It says 68%. I'm trying to switch to a different enemy right now. I can't. So what I want to do is highlight the enemy I want to do the heavy attack on. And then it works. or you can move. Sometimes this is better just to move. Like, let's say I was going to try to attack this enemy if this guy died. Well, instead of just doing it like, you know, running across the screen like I did earlier, like this, I could have saved some action points by, let's say, being able to run here for the same amount of action points, then hitting this enemy with heavy attack, and then moving on over here, then I'd be closer to this enemy. This is how you save action points. You can stretch your character farther across the battlefield, get more attacks out of them, things like that. Or let's say you wanted to be closer to a cover. It doesn't even need to be an attack. It could be just whatever you want to do. Get back to cover, you know, heal somebody, whatever. Get back to your teammate. Bleeding Strike, the animation is really long. Don't press the buttons while Bleeding Strike is active, just let it do its thing. If you have this perk, Hack and Slash, heavy attack doesn't trigger Hack and Slash from my experience. Like if you do 2 heavy attacks, it won't attack a third time. It's only if you do a regular attack. I believe if you do a Bleeding Strike first, then do a regular attack, it still won't do the third attack. But I'm not absolutely positive of that. So Hack and Slash, if you have really, really high crit chance without, you know, needing to use heavy attack, there's ways to get your crit chance super high. Then you can, you know, go with Hack and Slashing. But this is one of the best ways early on for a melee character to get critical hits, is by using weapon skills, heavy attack. For blunt, you have blood sport. This auto crits, the crit multipliers are huge on blunt weapons. They're actually bigger than listed, so they're just massive critical hits. It doesn't say so, but Disease triggers this. If they're stun resisted, you can't chain stun an enemy. If you stun them, they're immune to stun the next turn. Some enemies are also just always immune to stun, or always immune to certain status effects. So Disease works on this, Stun Resist works on this, works for Bloodsport. There's probably a few others, I think. So yeah, using Bloodsport or Heavy Attack is a good way to get critical hits early. Bleeding Strike does insane damage, and the aim penalty is not as severe as Heavy Attack. It's really good early on. If they're on fire, it's like doing 4 regular attacks, assuming you don't get a critical. If your crit chance is really high with this, you can one-shot, like, if you get your damage and crit chance high enough, you can like one-shot bosses with tons of health. You know, huge boss battles where the enemies have enormous amounts of health and you think, how would I ever kill this enemy? If they're on fire and you hit them with a Bleeding Strike, you ain't get a crit. You're talking massive damage with the right stats. So again, I'm selecting Heavy Attack, I'm trying to target another enemy, I'm moving it around, it's not working. So what I do is just select like this and then do Heavy Attack. And then he'll run to him. But he's just going to choose his own path to do it, like he's going to move here and then attack. Let's say I wanted to get over here behind cover, or behind this tree, or back here or something. So you might want to manually do it like this. Then Heavy Attack. It missed, it was still a 71% chance, and then, you know, you're closer to get over here. You have to use less action points. Did not get a free attack. See, I did a heavy attack first, then a regular attack. It did not trigger the... let me see. It did not trigger the hack and slash perk. Oh, I want to talk about stunning blow. I need a blunt weapon. I'm gonna have to wait till next turn. Let's talk about Stormer, because when the last video stopped, that was a problem. Okay, Stormer can be kind of confusing. I spent like an hour learning this just to make sure I fully understood it. So Quan is standing here. It's 5 spaces horizontal or vertical. Like if I move 5 spaces, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it says, the description says, if you move more than 5 spaces, your next assault rifle or submachine gun attack costs no action points once per turn. But if I move 5 spaces like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you could say that's technically more than 5 spaces. It won't trigger. It will not trigger Stormer. But if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that should trigger it. Like if this wasn't here and you just moved like 1, let's say there wasn't somebody in the way. Let's use this person as an example. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That will not trigger it. But if you move 1 more space after this, horizontal or vertical 5 spaces, 2, 3, 4, 5, then it triggers it. Stormer. Not all the time, but it should trigger it also because I'm going around this thing. So it's kind of like it's moving 5 spaces, but I'm also moving like down 1 square and then back up 1. Let me see if that works actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it did work because it wasn't, even though it was straight across, he had to go around this item. If this wasn't here and he just went 5 spaces, it would not work. So I think Gary Wolf did a lot of damage. Oh, I don't have unload on this weapon. Killed him. Alright. And Serial Killer triggered. Or trigger happy. So I got action points back. I might be able to trigger Stormer again. Or that's only if I bank a Stormer at the end. Yeah, I don't think it's going to work. Let me move here. No, it didn't work. I'll show on another turn. Reckless attack, that damages your own character. Okay, see pursuit. So let's say I use the foam finger on myself right now, it would cancel this pursuit bonus that I'm getting. And then you would lose the extra crit chance. I think some other things will cancel it too. I'm going to show how to save up pursuit attacks for the next turn also. Remember, heavy attack won't crit for PS4. I don't know if this applies for Xbox. Heavy attack will not give you a critical hit first hit. From my experience, it's impossible to get a critical hit the first hit if an enemy doesn't have a combo meter on them with a brawling attack. You can get it on the second hit though. I'll even try here. Even a lucky crit, I don't think I've ever gotten a lucky crit. See, it's just not hitting. See, no critical hits. If this was a melee weapon with that much intelligence, most likely it would have got a critical hit. No! But once they get that combo meter on them, then with a brawling attack you can get a critical hit. So with reckless attack, there's some rare fist weapons, the Cult of Holy Detonation. A good strategy would be to, or when you have your Thundering Strike saved up, what I like to do is to at least apply 1 or 2 combo meters on the enemies first. See, it said lucky mega critical, but it didn't actually do a lucky mega critical, or else it would have hit a lot harder. So his luck actually triggered to get a lucky mega critical, but because he's using a fist weapon and there was no combo meter applied to him, it didn't work. But once they have this, even if it's only ×1, then you can critical hit chance them, or critical hit them with a fist weapon. So once they have that, then do a Thundering Strike, and then you have a chance to critically hit them with a fist weapon, with either Reckless Attack, Regular Attack, or Thundering Strike. So yeah, that way you can stretch you get more damage out of your action points by thinking of stuff like this. Melee could be kind of tough. It's definitely harder to use than guns. Good thing about it is you can move farther with the perks. You don't have to use bullets. You don't have to worry about running out of bullets. Also, assault rifles, heavy machine guns, and sniper rifles get lower aim the closer the enemy is to you. The same with the enemy. This particular enemy is using an assault rifle. See, it says damage ×3. Because I'm right next to him, he's going to have a much lower chance of hitting me. In the older patches, I think they would just always attack even if they're right next to you. Now they move if their hit chance is too low. They'll try to move back and then shoot you if they have enough action points. If they don't, they'll just try to move away, create distance. But yeah, if their hit chance is too low, they won't take the shot. So getting up in their face like this is good for tanky characters with a lot of evasion and defense. If you're a fist user or a melee user, not only are you close to them, so you don't have to use as much action points next turn to hit them again, but you're taking away their aim. Try to use this, targeting the enemy and then pressing up on the D-pad. Remember, it tells you the status effects, it tells you their stats. This stuff's, kind of important if you play on harder difficulties, or maybe your team's not that strong and you need to, use every amount of information you can. It looks like these guys are all assault rifle users. The light machine gun turret, you can kind of think of it as like a heavy machine gun. It's going to have high armor penetration, it's going to do high damage, but it's going to have a really low hit chance. So yeah, we're talking about weapon skills right now. Let's get back to, I'll keep trying to focus on that for now. Let's see if heavy attack works now that there's a combo meter built up. I don't think it will. It might. It did, okay. So it looks like heavy attack can work as long as there's a combo meter applied. This is just for fist weapons. That's, you know, heavy attack works fine for the blunt weapons. Let me do rally. See, right now I'm having trouble targeting Marshal Kwan or Private Jody Bell. If you don't want to jiggle the paddle around, again, highlight them like this. And you see how it's selecting. It's bringing up Jody Bell. You see the name pop up. Then you hit the square button. And then you select the skill you want to do. Inspire. Okay, so now Jody Bell has 4 action points. And I may as well use this opportunity to show how to save a... let's see. It's got to be more than 3 spaces. Yeah, we'll do this. No, that didn't work. I guess that functions like Stormer. It needs to be horizontal, vertical spaces, and then maybe again horizontal or vertical from that. Okay, now he's getting critical hits. And now heavy attack works. Does this guy have that? He does, okay. So I'm going to move here, and what I'm going to try to show you is, again, Stormer and what is it called? Pursuit can be saved for next turn. Okay, he's got Pursuit. See that? The thing is you have to use all your action points for it to carry over to next turn. If I had 1 action point left and then I defended or I healed or whatever else with, you know, multiple action points, that'll cancel that. So use it with the last of your action point. You can do that by counting action points and squares. Let's go back to Lucia. Okay, again, I'm trying to highlight the turret right now. It's being difficult. If I wiggle it back and forth, I might be able to get it, but an easier thing to do is, instead of having trouble switching from this character to this one, just select it like this, then press the square button, and then select the weapon skill or perk skill that you want to. Okay, so what happened is she got action points back, so the attack only costs 1 action point. I think if your luck is high enough, that attack can actually give you free action points. Same with the foam finger, using it on yourself, your luck is high enough. So now she has a precision strike she can use. You want to use that on low evasion characters. This is like the lowest aim pistol with precision strike on it. It's not a good example. This one has higher aim. I can put the lightweight barrel on it. This is actually a good opportunity to get some aim on this thing. Yeah, this is a much better pistol. Give her some awareness for more accuracy. With Lucia Wesson, Opportunist does not stack with her background. So if you're using Lucia pistols, don't get Opportunist. This is for PS4. I can't speak for Xbox or what's the other one? PC. Make you ever draw? Just give her some stuff, I guess. Give her this. That way she can survive. Okay, she gets a free attack. Snapshot, 94%. It's much higher now. See, I'm trying to switch. I've seen it. I've seen people struggle with this, and that's why they just don't use weapon skills. I'm trying to switch from this one to this one with snapshot, and I'm having trouble. See, with regular attack, it's not a problem. With the weapon skills, it is a problem. So again, just select the person you want to use the weapon skill on, or perk skill, and then do that. So select them, then hit the square button. It opens up this wheel, and then select the weapon skill or the perk skill or whatever you want to use on it. You know, once you're already targeting them like this, yeah, then you can usually just, it's not as much of a problem. See, it's just auto-selecting this person. I want to select the turret, so do this. Highlight them. Open up the wheel with the square button. Then select snapshot. There you go. And she got a critical. Marshal Quan. The auto end hold turn works most of the time. Sometimes what it messes up, and your team will only have like 2 action points on the next turn. I use it often when there's like 1 enemy left and they're helpless. I'm just trying to build up my strike meter for the next battle. I wouldn't rely on it in a situation where you're in danger or there's still a lot of enemies. So doing the end turn, hold down circle button, I wouldn't use that when you're, like I said, when there's a lot of enemies. Okay, it's on tourists. They should survive. Gary Wolf still did a lot of damage even though they were on tourist. Killed 2 guys with 1 shot. Okay, so as you can see, Zeus, even though it's the next turn, he still has his pursuit ready. So he doesn't need to move more than 3 spaces to have that critical chance bonus. Again, this is really useful, like when you're, even if you're not doing a solo run, like this is just, it's, you're getting more damage out of your action points, and that's always good. That's just more damage, you know? So that can be carried over. I'm trying to think of other abilities that can be carried over. Let me do Stormer. Also a good strategy I like to do is, let's assume there's only 1 enemy left and they're not much of a threat. Like Jody Bell's not really a melee character. I just gave her points for this video, but let's say she had a lot of strength and a lot of evasion and a lot of crit resist, and let's say this guy's the only one left. What you could do is put on like a weak weapon. One thing I like to do, I'm going to give her more brawling. Brawling goes really well even if you're not using brawling. Mostly, it just goes good with melee, even if you only put 2 points into it. If your strike meter isn't that high through charisma investment or buffs, what I like to do if that pursuit works for this. Yeah, I don't think the crit chance is going to apply to the brawling, only if you have a combo meter equipped. No! It took it away, okay. So when there's one enemy by themselves, you can build up your strike meter. You can do this with guns also, with your team, by using like weak weapons. And what you'd be doing is you're saving up your strike meter for the next battle, or for an upcoming difficult battle. Some people might consider this cheap or tedious. They don't want to do it. That's fine. You don't have to. But you know, if you're playing on a harder difficulty and you don't have like super powerful character builds or weapons or stuff like that, you know, these things can help you out. So instead of just killing this enemy, which I could do with this weapon, I'm going to, you know, what this is doing is this is building up a strike meter. They're not by themselves, but, you know, assuming they were just by themselves. Build up your strike meters for an upcoming difficult battle. Let's go back to Quan. I'm going to just waste some action points because my goal isn't to kill the enemy, it's to show you how to carry a Stormer for next turn. So again, vertical or horizontal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you move a square after that. It can't be towards the same, you know, towards you obviously. It needs to be branching out from the 5, so envision, kind of try to envision or imagine a box like right here. This will work. If you want to go even farther than that, you can. Anything beyond this square, or, you know, it doesn't have to be there, it could be over here, whatever, or over here, or here. Or if you're moving around an obstacle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this will work because I'm going around this obstacle. So I'm moving, you know, more than 5 squares, horizontal, vertical. I'm moving up and left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1. That'll trigger, this'll trigger, this'll trigger. Anything beyond this mark right here. If I just move 5 squares, it's not going to work. If I move 5 squares diagonally, it's not going to work. If I move 5 diagonal squares like this, let me check and see if that works. I think it doesn't. Let me see. 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I think it does. Yeah, it does, because you're moving 5 squares and then down 1. Yeah. But if I move 4, like 1, 2, 3, 4 diagonal, I don't think it works. So let's say I wanted to carry this Stormer over to next turn. It's not going to work because you didn't use all your action points. I still have it even though I reloaded, but when I eventually do something like prepare or defend, it's not going to work. So I would have to use all the action points and then he'll keep it. So it's not really a free one, but I'll move here and he'll still have it, I think. Yeah, he still has it, so next turn he'll be able to use it. I'm going to end this turn so I can show you the Stormer next turn. If he doesn't die. He does not have it. It may be because he got hit. Okay, let me try this again. Let me kill this person. Alright. And I may as well test this, even even though I've done it before. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm pretty sure this is not going to work. Yeah, see, it did not trigger Stormer. Even though it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 squares horizontally, 4 squares diagonally. So again, it needs to be horizontal or vertical. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you move 1, 1, 1 from there beyond this 5 spot. Anywhere beyond that works. So let me move here. He's got Stormer. It's his last action point. Hopefully, I think maybe the enemy shooting him may have canceled it, or maybe because I didn't use it with my last amount of action points. So I'm going to move Jody Bell here to draw fire. She's got Pursuit. If I hit Prepare, it takes Pursuit away. Same as Stormer. It may be because I held the button down with Prepare also. The end turn when you hold it down. Yeah, I think that might cancel the skills also. Oh, well, I'm talking about melee attacks before I end the melee section completely. Stunning Blow on PS3 seems to always hit. I don't think I've ever seen it not hit. That doesn't mean it always stuns them, but I think it may always stun them too, unless they're stun resistant. The description says, knock the wind out of a guy, it doesn't matter what kind of fancy gun he's packing. Stunning Blow, 5 action points. Focus blunt attack that stuns the target enemy but has negative 15% hit chance. Frozen enemies take an extra 100% damage. So if they're frozen, they do take double damage. You can do some big combos with, freezing the enemy, stunning blowing them, stunning blow for double damage. Then you can auto crit them because they're stunned with a blunt weapon. The melee tree is harder to use than guns, but there can be some huge damage multipliers with stuff like this. Stunning Blow, Bleeding Strike. So yeah, Stunning Blow. It says it has less of a chance, but it just always hits. Like it says 72%. But if I just move the analog around, it moves to 95%. It always hits. Always. So it's really good if your melee character doesn't have high charisma. Although, charisma is really good for a melee character. I usually don't invest it till way late game, or not at all. Just because I want, huge damage. Or maybe other things, but Stunning Blow is a really good way to stun the enemies and get a guaranteed hit. It always hits. I don't remember if their status effect resistance can resist this. I know for a regular Thundering Strike it can, but it's a really good way to stun the enemy. And what you can do is, let's say you had your strike meter saved up. Use your Stunning Blow, lock them down. Say this is a boss enemy with just a ton of health. Hit him with a Stunning Blow, damage them all, hit him again with another blunt weapon user, get an auto crit if you have Blood Sport. If you have this perk, hit him with a blunt weapon, get an auto crit. Shoot them with people with guns, all that, yada yada yada. And then next turn, you won't be able to stun him, but you'll be able to stun another group of enemies with your Thundering Strike, because you didn't use your Thundering Strike when you used Stunning Blow the first time. And then later on, when your Stunning Blow is ready again, you can use your Stunning Blow. So you can use this to kind of ration your stuns if you don't have really high charisma. You get more stuns on different crowds of enemies. instead of just doing Thundering Strike first. It's situational, depends on who you're facing, how many enemies you're facing, all that. Okay, I think the end turn, I think that also cancels this. Let me test that right now, because I used all of his action points for this Stormer, so I know that that'll carry over to the next turn. But holding down end turn may cancel that. It did. Okay, that's another reason not to use end turn. For that reason right there. Okay, I'm going to revive this person. And he's stun resistant, so he can't be stunned, but he will take an auto crit from a blunt weapon. See, critical hit. He's stun resistant, but still takes an auto crit, so that counts. Disease counts, and the other long list counts. PC Thundering Strikes do not have as big of an area of effect as PlayStation. I don't know if Xbox is the same, but PlayStation gives you a bigger area of effect for the Thundering Strike. So if I target this enemy with a Thundering Strike, most of the time it's going to do a 3 square area of effect from this enemy. Not all the times, but most of the time. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You know, all these squares. 1, 2, 3. This square, this square. All these 3 squares, all these ones. Anything that has, 3 squares away from the original target. 1, 2, 3. I think maybe this might block it. I don't know if the tree stump, like, if there's an enemy over here, maybe the tree stump will block it. I don't remember. But for PC, it's smaller. I don't know if it's 2 or what. I haven't played on PC this game. So yeah. That's one thing where PlayStation users get an advantage with Thundering Strikes. Do a nice big area of effect. Stun. Okay, back to Stormer. You're going to get a Stormer. Obviously spending 9 action points to get a Stormer is not smart. I'm just going to show that you can have 2 per turn if you carry one over. And just finish off this enemy. And also she can carry over that pursuit to next turn. Needs a bladed weapon. Do I have the knuckles? Nobody's got the knuckles. The speed knuckles. It's a really good item that you get like in the beginning. It gives you 50.5 bonus speed. What I like to do is equip that, run, and then switch to the blade weapon. That way you get to trigger pursuit and still get the movement bonus. I don't know where it is. I may have gotten rid of it. This playthrough was a flamethrower user, so I didn't really have a need for the knuckles. But let's assume I had the knuckles and I wanted the extra move speed. This might be kind of difficult, but So I wanted to get the pursuit bonus, but I also wanted the move speed from the knuckles. It can be kind of difficult if you're only moving 4 spaces, but you switch immediately. See how it worked? You switch immediately after you move. It's much easier if you're moving farther, but if you're only moving 4 spaces, it can be kind of tough. Yeah. So right after I press the button, press left or right. I think it's... I don't think it matters whether you press left or right, but anyways. He still has it. He's still keeping it. Let's move over here. What's going on, man? I've played a solo character with Stormer before. I don't know why this isn't working. Why is he not carrying it over to the next turn? I used to do this all the time. Is it because he's fighting on a team? Why is this not working? I have videos of me doing this, like, all the time. There's gotta be a reason why it's not working. Does it have something to do with Reckless? Let me defend with everybody and see what happens instead of prepare.
We protect what matters.
It's taking it away. Why? That's really odd that it's not working. Is it just him? Let me use a different character. Let me use this guy. Give him some speed. Stormer. Does it have something to do with this Reckless perk? Or double tap? I don't know. I'll only give him Stormer, that way maybe these other perks don't conflict. Maybe it's spray and pray, I don't know. I don't know why Quan's being difficult. Maybe it's because the crossboom is... Let me try that. Let me take out the crossboom. Maybe I also can't defend or prepare with the teammates. Yeah, I'm just used to doing it with a solo character.
Rangers never truly die.
It's not working. Okay, so what I'm going to do is exhaust all the action points for the teammates and then see if it works. That might be it. It could be the defend or prepare, even with teammates, cancels it. again, if you're using the little fist weapon to get more movement, you can have it equipped to get the movement bonus and just switch weapons as you're running. That way you get the movement bonus and you can still trigger the extra crit chance with the blade perk. Same thing applies to Stormer. Trying to think of other movement perks. See us stop getting lucky actions. Yeah, I was just doing that recently, actually. Using the fist for the movement speed and switching to the heavy, or the light machine gun, the SMG. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, so this time it works. So what happens is if you want that free Stormer attack, for the pursuit, I don't think that like you're allowed to defend or prepare with your teammates, and I still think you keep the pursuit. But if you want the free Stormer attack, then you know. Okay, see, right now he's got a free attack.
What are you doing? The occupants of Colorado Springs are under our protection.
Yeah. Trying to...
You're testing me, Rangers. Harm a non-combatant in Colorado Springs, and I'm done with you. And the Patriarch will be
He'll
too.
leave after the battle, but... Okay, so I'm getting a free attack. See, it's not using any action points. Okay. This person's still not in battle.
Enemy spotted!
Okay, see, he got Stormer. He got a free attack in the beginning. And then, again, as long as you don't use defend or prepare with your teammates and exhaust all their action points, then he'll get it again at the end. Let me, where can I, here we go. Let's move him here. He could have just used it again that turn. Like I didn't have to move over here and save it for next turn again. So you can use it at the beginning if you carry it over. Free attack. Then use your action points, and then you can get another free attack that turn. So you can get 2 free attacks. Now I gotta use all their action points.
You won't die in vain!
Who's this? Automatic weapons. Oh, that's right. I was trying to figure out why Stormer's not working. Let me put some on this magazine size. He doesn't have draw, so. The explosive bolt, as far as I know on Supreme Jerk, I don't know for other difficulties. This is Tourist, but it does 75 damage. Hey Nina, what's up? Doing a demonstration video right now. Just trying to help people understand the perks and weapon skills on PS4, because the user interface can be a pain in the ass. Oh, that was a critical. Man, this guy's getting a lot of criticals. What is that? Oh, leader multi-kill. I didn't realize he was the leader. let's see. Again, if I wanted to use the fist, but I still wanted the blade, just switch right after you select the square. You see how I had the blunt weapon equipped, and now I have the blade one. It doesn't, there's no benefit to doing it with the blunt weapon because I'm not getting an aim bonus. But so use that with Stormer or what's it called? Pursuit. Yeah. Yeah, I'll do a bleeding strike on him. Oh! Looks like you can't see because of the stairs. I couldn't be diagonally away from him. Crouch for more aim. Oh, I want to talk about Mark too before I forget. Yeah, Jody has Mark. So, if you're like, let's say I crouch and then I use Mark, she is a sniper. You know, a lot of times the sniper starts the battle crouched for more aim. And, critical chance 25%. Does that work with the sniper? Wow. So that can be added to her sniper attack? I didn't know that. Maybe you can add pursuit to your sniper attack, I don't know. That could be kind of cool. Maybe with chain ambush. Yeah, don't kill the last enemy with chain ambush. Or when you're trying to arrest Brygo, some story battles, because it'll lock up the game. But yeah, I've used chain ambush since the latest patches. Definitely powerful, but I mean, I wasn't killing the entire screen with just one character. It would kill like 3 enemies or something. You know, do not kill the last enemy with chain ambush. So anyways, when you're crouched and you use Mark, it makes your character stand up. Also, I think if you use the foam finger on yourself or somebody else, it makes you stand up. So that kind of sucks because, like, the sniper has concentration. You know, you want to keep your aim high, kind of just stay in the same spot, keep shooting somewhere safe. A way to maybe get around that, on certain maps there might not be cover available for the sniper, but if you're up against, you don't even need to be behind it, just if you're up against something, try to find something like this to stand next to. So now if I use Mark, you do stand up, but then you still crouch back down because I'm by this. If I was like standing here away from this cover, then it would force her to stand up when she uses Mark, and then she loses the aim and evasion bonus, which is not good. If you are forced to just be out in the open, and let's say you're you know, crouched and you want to use Mark on somebody, but let's say you're going to take a shot also, Mark will increase the damage of your precision strike, but let's say you don't have a precision strike with your sniper yet, but you're going to take a shot. Take the shot first so you get the aim bonus, then apply marked if you really need to mark somebody. It will force you to stand up, but at least you got the aim bonus first before you use Mark. But again, a good way to avoid that from having Mark force you to stand up, just stand next to something if you can find something. Then you don't have to worry about that. Okay, I'm going to show that Quan can get 2 shots per turn. Now the whole base is attacking. Just trying to waste their action points. Again, if you want the free Stormer attack, do not use defend or prepare with any of your teammates. And sneak attack rockets. Use sneak attack rockets. That's if you want to be, have a easier time for beginning players. Use sneak attack rockets. Explosives, rocket launcher, sneak attack for. They never miss. They have huge crit multipliers. Get your crit up. Smoke cigarettes. Get your crit chance up. Sneak attack flamethrowers, sneak attack shotguns, anything where you can hit multiple enemies at once. Alright, let me Did the Stormer get taken away from It did. Oh, maybe because he doesn't have ammo. Or maybe it got taken away from him and got put into Quan. Okay, so he's not in range. I'll just shoot this thing. It's free attack. See? Because Stormer. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1 from there. Look at that. 2 Stormers and 1 attack, or 1 turn. See? One, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not enough. I want to see if he can get another Stormer. I don't think he can. It's limited to 2 per turn. I'm trying to inspire Quan again. If you're having trouble with that, select the character, whether it be an enemy or an ally that you want to use the skill on, then press the square button, then go to the skill. There you go. Now use Inspire on him. See if you can get another Stormer. No, only 2 per turn. And that's assuming you carry 1 over from the last turn. Does anybody else have enough skill points? Automatic weapons. So yeah, this is the second part of the other video. The game crashed. PlayStation's been on for a long time, so it's like overheating. Stormer for you. Stormer for everyone. Alright, let's see if this guy can get, yeah. Wow. So it looks like you can get, I mean, you'd have to invest a lot into melee, but it looks like you can have Pursuit and Stormer on the same character. So you can get your crit chance really high, huh? Be kind of complicated to use though, because you gotta like... This was carried over from last turn though. That's interesting. So it looks like you can apply the critical hit chance from Pursuit, which is a melee attack, to gun weapons. That could be really useful for, well, any weapon really, but for weapons that either hit a lot of targets or shoot a lot of bullets. Interesting. Okay, he's getting a free attack. I don't think he can... He's not going to be able to get another one, I don't think. No, he won't.
Taking the height advantage.
That's kind of cool.
Pushing forward.
You can combine Pursuit with gun attacks. Interesting. I know a lot of players don't like to use like the consumables and stuff, and I'm not crazy about the visual effects either. Like the first time I did it, it's like, oh, that's kind of cool, like it shows a visual effect. But like managing stuff like this can be a pain in the ass. The food items don't do a visual effect. The alcohol does, the cigarettes does not, but like the drug buffs, they're very powerful. But the visual effect is kind of, can be kind of annoying. Or you just don't want to manage this stuff. I guess, Pursuit. Still get your crit chance high without buffs. Without Vengeful Bond, without other stuff. Even if you're playing solo, Foam Finger on yourself, very useful. Increases your critical hit chance and increases your hit chance. By increasing your hit chance, you're able to use weapon skill abilities much more effectively. Snapshot, trick shot, heavy attack, risky shot, powerful critical attacks or AP lowering attacks that give you an aim penalty because of the the aim bonus. If you have like 14 or 15 action points and you use the Foam Finger on yourself, it'll cost more than one action. Like it gives you 2 action points, takes away 3, but it usually will cost you more. Like, see, I'm going to use this on myself. He went from... Oh, we got a lucky action, though. That was a bad example because he got a lucky action. This is when using the Foam Finger could actually be good. Not only do you get buffs, but he got a lucky action, so he actually gained 2 action points from that. Let me use Rally. See right there, he had 13 action points, and he used Rally, he went down to 9. Oh yeah, that's because Rally costs 4. Can I use this on myself again? Yeah, you can't use that on the same character twice. Let me find a character that has... Okay, Lucia has... somebody close by. Lucia has 15 points. Let me get close to her. again, I'm having trouble targeting Lucia, so target her like this. Hit the square button, open up this menu, and now inspire her. Because she's got like, I think it's 14 or 15 is like, maybe even 13 is the point where it will lower your action points instead of boost them. Okay, see, she actually didn't get the 2 action point boost because she's at 15. But she did get the hit chance and crit chance. I think if she was at like 12 or 11 or 13, then she would still get the 2 action points. So yeah, that's something to consider when you're using Foam Finger on yourself or others. I'm gonna pass this turn.
We'll set this right.
May as well explain the Foam Finger since I'm on that subject now. So I showed Stormer, I showed Pursuit, and yeah, Pursuit can be used with guns, that's cool. Use Pursuit, use Foam Finger, get your crit chance up. Make maybe a melee gun character. Get your crit chance way up. Okay, so you saw if your action points are too high, maybe 14 or 15, you actually lose points. But if you have like 10 points and you use it on yourself, you should only lose 1. See, yeah, I went from 10 to 9, and I get the hit chance and crit chance. I like to use that on myself. I think it's worth it getting the hit chance and crit chance up to be able to use weapon skills. And, you know, higher crit chance leads to more damage, higher hit chance leads to more damage. Let me find, who's this, Zeus? Where's Zeus? Alright, let me use this on her. Wait. She's got 13. Okay, see, she didn't get the 2 action points that time. Zeus has 13. Let me spend some points. Okay, now he only has 11. So now let me use the Foam Finger on Zeus now that he's got 11. And he goes back up to 13. Might be 11 or 12, so remember not to use a Foam Finger if their action points are too high because they won't get the action point bonus. What you can do is spend action points first and then use the Foam Finger on the person with, you know, 11 or lower, 12 lower. You can experiment and figure it out. Yeah, so if I used that when Zeus was at 13, you wouldn't get the action point bonus. Let me see if it works at 12. Oh, I can't. He's out of, yeah, my teammate's out. Try trick shot. Trick shot seems to have a much higher crit chance than... I think there's a hidden crit chance on trick shot. It crits an unusually high amount. And it also seems to do huge damage. Fires a handgun attack, 50% negative hit chance. This attack hits, you gain an instant 3 action points and your strike meter is instantly filled. This ability is extremely powerful. Deals 100% damage versus marked targets. I think even if they're not marked targets, I think the damage is still increased. Also applies damaged weapon. Yeah, I've noticed that Trick Shot does really big damage and almost always crits. Like an unusually high amount of time. I don't know why. Just trying to kill some enemies. Okay, still have the turrets. And if anybody has any questions, you could ask either in the comment section or right now. Just trying to remember all the things I wanted to cover. I'm really trying to cover things that can help beginners. And I'm trying to, the UI issues, workarounds, I did that in the first video. Perks, the way the perks get used. Structural weakness. Mechanics. See, it says plus 18% damage against robots. This is... It's multiplied by your total damage. From my understanding, same as overcharge. So it's not like, let me go to this area, where is it? Okay, you have range damage bonus, you have melee damage bonus. Let's stick with range damage bonus. I don't know what normal damage bonus is. Range damage bonus. So yeah, I don't think these multiply between each other. They're just like, it's just added. Like you have your total damage. This just keeps adding damage bonuses, I believe. Like having fire damage with range damage bonus. And then you can increase that from, you know, armor mods too, and the helmet and stuff like that. But I think mechanics like this multiplies with your total damage, like with this number, like your end number. You know, whatever your number is at the end. Can I weird science to boost that? It might be weird science too. Maybe it does. I don't know. Mechanics and survival. I used to know more how this worked, but anyways, mechanics survival, really good way to boost your damage on your damage dealers. These perks. It's not just like adding 20% like a lot of the other boosters. It's like this multiplying by your total damage, if I'm not mistaken. It's a really big way to increase damage against robots, and then you got your survival skill. That's a really good way to increase your damage against mutants. animals, I think it multiplies your end number, and this too. This is really powerful, this perk. Yeah, survival's not just for avoiding world map encounters. You can dish out some huge numbers. Cult to holy detonation, you know, mutants, animals. Some of the world map encounters, frogs. If you want to do a lot of world maps, you want more damage. Okay, what else did I want to talk about? I've talked about this plenty of times, but I'll talk about it again. Overhealing. Five points in healing. It's really good. If you want to have a tanky guy.
Taking their six.
Melee characters with high health, high armor. Who has enough points? Nobody? Yeah, medic packs are cheap. They're cheaper than med hypos. Used to restore con per turn over 3 turns. Amount healed increase with first aid skill level. 35% healing. Well, if you get your first aid skill really high, it's going to do more than 35%. Do I have the skill book? No, unfortunately. Oh, I got the combat shooting skill book. There's only one of those. Yeah, overhealing with a medic pack. You can put it on your teammates, you can put it on yourself. It's really, really strong. You could think of it as like a temporary regenerating shield for 3 turns. It goes above your total health pool, and it just regenerates each turn. So you have a character with high enough elemental defense, armor, you know, just a really tanky character. A lot of times you can stand out in the open, and enemies tend to target low health and low evasion. If they're too far away to hit your squishy characters, they'll target your beefy characters that are standing out in the open. And they can just take it to the face. Overhealing with a medic pack. Really, really, really strong. You can, sometimes you can withstand, like, just enemies that you thought you'd never be able to handle, like, even on Supreme Jerk. Cult to Holy Detonation enemies, I think they do a lot of elemental attacks. Get your elemental defense high enough, overhealing, get your health really high, get your armor high. It works. You can just take those hits to the face from some of the most damaging enemies in the game. Some of the powerful gun attacks are just like, some of them are just too much to handle. You would need some evasion to go with it. Or just, there are ways to get your armor insane. The blunt perk. If you're surrounded by a lot of close melee enemies, shrug it off. There's animals. They can get your armor rating higher. Shrug it off, bop bag, hardened. just every defensive thing you can find to increase your armor. Armor mods. I usually use this, elemental defense, but if you're fighting physical attacks, then you want stuff like this. You can upgrade this trauma plate to make it have more armor rating. You can get your armor rating really high, like really high, over 100. And with the Shrug It Off, you can get it even higher than that with certain armor sets. And if you have Steel Town, there's shields you can put on your teammates to make them nullify one attack that turn, stuff like that. Alright, let's try not to lose steam here. Steady shot's good. For half cover, get extra evasion hit chance, that's really good. Electric leakage. This is really good if you're dealing with lots of robots at once because they damage each other. So you're getting multiple 15% of their health disappearing at once if you can hack a bunch of enemies at once, like with a nerd stuff grenade. But it will damage your pets, so you gotta be careful. It'll damage your pets every time they walk through it too. So if that's becoming a problem, use a overhealing healer on your pets. That'll help keep your pets alive. I'm pretty sure this will also increase the life of your decoys, I'm almost positive. I think maybe having a high mechanics skill also increases the life of your deployables, but I'm not positive. Reinforced plating. This increases health. Fortify, this increases armor. I actually learned from watching, was it Comforts of the Burrow or something he was playing, and he was using a decoy. And he used the repair gun on the turret, or no, on his decoy. I thought it only worked on the deployables, so you can put that, you can heal your decoy. It doesn't heal that much damage on its own, but if you have these perks, handy and reinforced plating, you don't really need fortify, but if you want armor on the decoy, you can have also armor on the decoy. You can have a decoy last like an entire fight instead of having to use like 5 decoys and being like, man, I'm running out of decoys. You can have one decoy last an entire fight by these 3 perks, or just these 2. The armor will help a little bit, I guess, with certain enemies at lower levels. It's not guaranteed that they're going to attack the decoy, but they attack it enough to help your team stay alive. And repair kits. So use the fuser before the decoy is even damaged to increase its health. To make it more sturdy, you don't want the decoy going down in the first round, then you'll have to summon another one maybe, and then you're using, you only have so many decoys. So use that, I don't have it handy with me right now, but that little fuser weapon, you get it in the casino in a safe where the boulder fight is. And you get some other stuff too. So that's a really handy weapon. Yeah, the gun doesn't really heal it that much early on. When you're lower level it kind of does, but later on you're going to want to use repair kits to repair your decoy. And yeah, you can, even on Supreme Jerk, you can stretch that decoy a long ways. Get a lot of This can absorb a lot of enemy attacks, especially at lower levels. Thinking workarounds. Oh, I've heard people talking about Yuma. There being a problem, the game keeps crashing. I've had that issue also. And what I did is I went back to Ranger HQ, and I think I changed the team members of my team. Like I fast traveled back to Ranger HQ. You can call for a tow by hitting the triangle button. Change your team members, whatever, do some stuff there, and then drive all the way back to Yuma, and then I was able to enter Yuma without a problem. Yes, I've experienced that problem with the game crashing. And yes, by going back to Ranger HQ, changing my teammates, or just doing some stuff, you know, kind of like passing time or whatever, maybe. I think it might be something to do with Cordite and the quest. Put them in your party or whatever, and then it'll be fixed, and then you can progress. So that's a workaround, as far as I know. It works for me on PS4. Hippocratic Oath. Show unavailable perks. If you're using the Blaster Master, the underbarrel free grenade shot for 3 action points. The radius is increased by this. So yeah, if you have an explosive character and you want to do big sneak attacks without using a rocket, take that underbarrel is also only affected by explosive damage, not gun damage. So if you pick Explodamaniac and Pyromaniac for an extra 40% explosive damage, get the explosive skill really high. You can get that hit up to like 350, not non-critical. And then you can add things like equip things that increase your crit chance, crit damage multipliers, stuff like that. And then get blast radius. You can do some really good sneak attacks with the Blaster Master gun. The grenade launcher shotgun radius is not affected by this perk. And that gun is affected by explosive damage increase and also gun damage increase. So sadomasochist, stuff like that. Range damage increase. Mortar Blast, this is extremely powerful. This is an extremely powerful skill. It used to not use a rocket at all. But if you can kind of get a feel for where the enemies are going to go, you're getting a lot more value. A sneak attack rocket is really good though. But if you have a high damage rocket user and you're not doing sneak attack rockets, or if you have enough action points and you equip a rocket launcher in both slots, and you can do that. You can have a rocket launcher in both of these spots. So you can fire your sneak attack rocket launcher, switch to your other rocket launcher, and then do mortar blast if you have enough action points. Mortar blast does huge damage. Even with a shitty rocket launcher, it does huge damage. And it's really good when it's grouped up with explosives, nitrogen tanks, exploding barrels, stuff like that. Oh, I've noticed Terrorize. If you pick Terrorize, it'll say, you know, they're engulfed, but they're still taking the fire damage. If you terrorize them with fire damage, you get the fire damage over time. You can also freeze them, and they'll still take the fire damage over time. It seems to work really well with terrorize. With regular fire damage over time, the frozen seems to just cancel out the fire damage, from what I've noticed. So yeah, you can have burning, bleeding, shock, poison. What is that? 42% of their health going down per turn. And you could also have them frozen and have their hit chance lowered. And you can even disease them, lower their action power. You can do all kinds of stuff. But yeah, this is good. I've learned to appreciate this because you can freeze them when they're terrorized. Let's see here. What else did I want to talk about? Workarounds. Oh, somebody came up with a good idea on Reddit. They said, because of the chain ambush problem they're having, they'll make they'll stun an enemy. And it's true, if you stun an enemy, they won't trigger your chain ambush. So if you want to use chain ambush, but you don't want it to lock up the game, I'm speaking from PS4 experience. Keep that in mind, this is for PS4 players. I don't know about Xbox, I don't know about PC. Stun one of the enemies, and then do chain ambush, and you don't have to worry about the stunned enemy triggering the chain ambush. So then you could kill all the enemies, and then the stunned enemy, you can just finish them off next turn. So that could be a good strategy. That way you can use chain ambush without having to worry about the game locking up. I don't know if counter-offensive counts for melee attacks also. But a tank shotgun user could be very effective. Yeah. After they hit you, attacking a melee enemy on the turn after they hit you deals 50% more damage. Yeah, I think that can work for if you're a melee character too and you take this. I haven't tested it, but that might be good. Let's see. Put this on your tanks. Even if you're not using explosives, it only costs 2 skill points. Fire resist and explosive resist is very useful. This will help you in Holy Detonation, Cult of Holy Detonation, a lot. Rally's great. Debuffing the enemies are great, also in Holy Detonation when you can't just, kill all the enemies in one turn, and there's waves of enemies coming at you. Stop their ability to damage you. Toasty. I don't think I've ever used this. I guess that might be good with the Bleeding Strike melee blade character if you don't have a fire blade weapon. First attack every turn will inflict burning. Then hit him with Bleeding Strike for ×4 damage. Yeah, this is obviously good for fire damage. I like to get Scrounger's Touch early. They're really weak weapons that don't give you a lot of scrap or money. Break them down with this perk. To get weapon mods, don't sell your scrap. Scrap is gold in this game. You can use the scrap and junk you find to upgrade the shitty weapon mods into better weapon mods. Expert Disassembler also, this gives you more scrap. Yeah, do not sell your scrap. Unless you're just an expert of the game and you don't need it, but yeah, scrap is, in my opinion, scrap is worth a lot more than money. Do not sell your scrap. Microwave Research is extremely powerful against robots. Even if you're using a weapon that does low damage, that fires a lot of bullets, this is increasing your damage based on how much armor the target has. The higher their armor, the more damage they take with this. Overcharge, extremely powerful, especially for sneak attacks. It multiplies by your total damage. Really good. Conductive beams, I've used that before. It's whatever. This is extremely good. It used to be stronger, it used to be 200%, still very powerful. If you're having trouble keeping your team alive, consider maxing one of your characters' armor modding and getting this +8 to everybody's armor. It does not stack. You can't have a full team with Tender Loving Care and get plus, what is it, 48? You can't get +48 to armor. But +8 to armor is a lot. I can't think of anything else right now. Maybe later, or if somebody asks in the comments. If they're asking, for help. This isn't really a build video, it's more just like general knowledge of the perk skills and weapon skills. So yeah, I think that's all I got now. I can do a third part of this later. Center mass may seem shitty because it doesn't do a lot of damage and it's got no crit chance. But when enemies, if an enemy's far away behind cover and they have like a sliver of health, this increases your hit chance of finishing off that enemy. You don't need damage against an enemy that's almost dead. So center mass is a good finisher to like a faraway sniper who's almost dead and you just don't want him to one-shot one of your teammates next turn. Finish him off with center mass. Or finish him off with a rocket launcher. Rocket launchers are really good against snipers. Especially if you put a range scope. When enemy snipers are like camping on just ambush, they keep killing you when you try to move close to them. Put a range scope on a rocket launcher if you don't have a tank handy. Rocket launchers don't miss, so you can hit them with mortar blast or just hit them with a regular attack. If there's enough enemies grouped up though, mortar blast is better. That'll usually take care of the snipers. This is a really good item. cardboard box. You need 6 burn books and some scrap. The recipe is in the Arapaho caravan. This is really useful. Gives you a little bit of sneak attack damage, but more you're using it to like position a sneak attack, maybe with a shotgun or something more up close, or just sneaking by the enemies. A lot of the fights can be avoided by sneaking past them. You could also share this with the entire team, or make more than one. So you can sneak past the enemies with one character, then take this off, put it on somebody else, sneak past the enemies again. This armor gives free combat stems. It can be used before combat starts, and then you can take the armor piece off and put on a different piece of armor before you start the fight. Or you can just get 6 weird science and 4 strength to wear it. Use it in the middle of battle or before battle, whatever you want. It's very powerful. This is a really good hat. It's Colorado gear. Crit damage multiplier. This is really good if you start with Dusty and Marie. You start with a +3 armor wrench. Utility slot item. That's useful early on. And there's also a 30% critical damage, which is even stronger than this. This is 20%. That's really good. They're a really good start, like really good items. This is a good item, strike rate. And yeah, cigarettes are cheap. Use them on damage dealers. You can smoke it before battle. You might think, oh man, well, the after effect sucks. You no longer need crystal clear to get rid of that, or to wait. You could just smoke again right before battle, and it removes the debuff. If you're using alcohol for your melee attackers or brawlers, don't let it count down to 0 or you get hungover. Try to reapply it, or if you know you're going to do a lot of non-combat stuff, then don't worry about it, and hungover will eventually wear off. Food is very cheap. These special foods, they fully heal you, but that's not really the benefit. Like, that's not really the most important use. It's +1 action point for 90 turns. It's extremely cheap for how powerful it is. Healing outside of battle, if you don't want to use medic packs and med hypos, these really cheap food items are a good way to heal yourself up. If you have a high healing skill, you're going to heal yourself more than just 20%. So yeah, if you have a tank with good healing and you don't want to use your healing items up, use stuff like this. They're really cheap to buy, especially if you got the buy in bulk perk. Yeah, this is a good way to heal outside of combat. Or if for some reason you run out of these items, if you have overhealing, this is still going to boost your health above its normal amount. So, they're not worthless. And they're really, really cheap. Don't use this because it'll give you a twisted wrist. And I think it lowers your aim. It's really bad. You don't want to use that. Just sell them. Don't use them. And then you'll have to like use an injury kit to remove it. Don't use the pickles. if you want your strike rate to be really high, but you don't want to invest in charisma, this is plus 15 to strike rate. If you have charisma at 2, then you get 10% strike rate. And then you take a brain candy. Now you have 25% strike rate. So every 4th attack can be a precision strike or thundering strike. If you have 20% strike rate, this is assuming you're not using Tomcat or some charisma buffs like the Bard's armor and some Steel Town armors. I think this is 20% strike rate. Yeah. Charisma 7. Because you have a base of like, just at 1 it's 8%, then this is 10. 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. If you have Charisma 7, you have a 20% strike rate. Then you take a brain candy. You can get up to 35% strike rate. So every 3rd attack can be a precision strike or thundering strike. A 0 Pricely in the northwest part of the map. If you're on good terms with the 100 families, you can he'll respawn, and you can keep buying these booster items to buff your characters. Again, they have the animation that's like kind of annoying, but it's really strong. Like these crit chance increases. It says 15%, but it's actually 20%. The focus. It used to be 30%. Rhino gives you armor. Jitter gives you evasion. Liquid time, that's 3 action points. Scopes are good on everything. I would not use a 2-meter scope on a weapon. What I would do is craft it into a 6-meter scope. Yeah, that's why scrap is so valuable. Accelerator skeleton. This is a good way to get your speed higher without having to invest in speed stat. That way you can have higher stats for health or damage. You can use this one, 0.4 combat speed, or you can use this one, which lowers your evasion. Critical hits, and after the latest patches, critical hits are not nearly as threatening as they used to be. In the earlier patches, critical hits that the enemies did on you used to be huge, so crit resist was much more important. There are still enemies that are very dangerous, late game enemies, but they don't have huge critical hit multipliers like they used to. So critical hit resist is not nearly as valuable as it used to be. I'd more focus on armor and elemental defense. But if you can have all 3, that's great. If you use animals, the enemies will usually try to attack your rangers before the animals or turrets. But if you're far enough away, they will aggro on the animals and the turrets. if they can't reach you. So those can be really useful. You might want to turn friendly fire off if you're using the animals. Let's see what else. Trying to think of what else people struggle with. Yeah, keep these crafting items. Can make some very powerful stuff. I think that's it. That's all I can think of for now. Any questions that you're struggling with as far as user interface problems or workarounds, you can ask in the comment section, and if I know, I'll try to help you. If I don't know, I'll just tell you I don't know. Alright, so hopefully that'll help with weapon skills, perks, you know, combat, all that. Definitely leave the tutorials on if you're just starting in the game, and read the tutorials. Helps a ton. It explains the armor system, action point system. Oh, shit. I forgot. I was going to show something else. Let me load this. I forgot. This is something that'll help some newer players. I think I've noticed people see the lines and they think that that's the enemy's percentage to shoot you, the good guy. But no, that's your chance to hit the enemy, assuming you take a shot from that position. So let me explain that in some detail. Okay. There's no music for some reason. So these orange lines, yeah, I've seen people play and they think if I move here the enemy can shoot me. The enemy has a 94% chance to shoot me. No, that's your chance to hit them, and that's if you have line of sight against them. Those percentages above the enemy are your chance to hit them. If you're up against a cover, you get 10% bonus aim. If you're behind half cover, you get a 40% evasion. But a flank, it's not like XCOM. They don't need to be like, if Lucia's here, the enemy doesn't need to be here to get a flank. The enemy can be like right here. It's harder to flank you or the enemy in full cover. You have 60% evasion, and they also need to get a sharper angle on you to get a flank shot to nullify your evasion bonus. So yeah, if you're half cover, the enemy can like maybe hit you here. Full cover, then they need to get more of an angle, more to the side of you to get a flank shot. If you crouch, you get a 10% aim bonus, 10% evasion bonus. That takes 2 action points. So instead of standing out in the open, like right here, taking a shot, if you can, even if you're not necessarily using the cover to dodge the enemy, try to get into the cover to increase your hit chance. So remember, those percentages above the enemy's head are your chance to hit them. Unless you're using a precision strike, you'll always have a 5% chance to miss. I think it's possible. I think the enemies may have a luck stat like you that gives them a lucky evade. So this may actually not be a 95% shot. It may be more like a 93% or a 94%, 92% shot. The enemies might have a luck stat, I'm not sure. But yeah, see with the crossboom, that's a bad example because of distance. Okay, see, this is a flank against the guy in the back, but it's not a flank against him. Still, same thing. Now I'm flanking him. So yeah, from what I've noticed, half cover, it's easier to flank half cover than full cover. And I think that's all I wanted to cover. Remember to count your action points. It's shown above his head, 11 action points. So if I move here, I'm using 3. I'll have 8 left. And then I'll be able to attack twice with the bladed weapon, assuming I'm just doing a regular attack. Or twice with the blunt weapon, assuming I'm just doing a regular attack. Or I can attack once with the bladed weapon, once with the blunt weapon, and have another action point left over, maybe to pop into cover. If you go to this screen and hit triangle, it'll show your stats. Combat speed. This is how many squares you can move for 1 action point. It says 3.3. That means I can move 3.3 tiles or squares for 1 action point. So if you see your combat speed like 1.7, you might want to try to get your combat speed up to 2. That way you can move 2 squares for 1 action point instead of, having to use 2 action points to move 2 squares. If you're moving a far distance, then 1.7 isn't bad, but if you're just moving 1.1 square, then you're just wasting the 0.7 from your combat speed. So you're having it like 1.9, 1.8, 1.7. It's not good if you're only moving 1 square. Try to get it to 2 at least. Yeah, this shows all your stats. Yeah, also in the earlier patches, it was easier to get your status effect resist up to 100, and your crit resist up to 100, critical hit up to 100. All that was easier. So yeah, pay attention to this stuff. This will help you know what your character is capable of. Their hit chance, all that stuff. and you know, try to experiment. It's fun to experiment with the different skills and perks, all that stuff, weapons. There's a lot of fun weapons to use, and the weapons can interact with each other with the perks. A lot of them go together. Yeah, there's a lot of interaction. Deals plus 100% damage versus targets that are stunned, stuff like that. Yeah. Combining all these status effects to increase your damage. It's good. Alright, that's it for real this time.